so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the God-woken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer, and united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the God-woken failed to seal the veil. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine, in service of the King, until the day I am freed, the day the God King returns.
Well, look what the cat dragged in. A God-woken. But what good is it to be God-woken when Source is now a free-for-all, and there is no divinity to be had? Don't fool yourself. In the absence of a master will rise. King, God, there is still power to be had. As long as there is power, there is conflict. Source for all, it is but the dream of an idiot who will soon wake to find his wrists in shackles. In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity. People crave authority. They'll beg for a sorcerer king like me. And I give you the assurance of disappointment.
He sighs, which seems to ease his surly countenance.
But come, we've travelled too long by one another's side to end with an argument. We'll not part on bad terms, will we? Home. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadha. Long to finally have the time to love. But before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groom, three quite indispensable talents. At the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure ahead, but now that it's quite over, I'd like to renew the opportunity for you to become my slave. What say you? Well, that's settled then. You're very welcome to my house indeed. We'll feast and reminisce. But in the meantime, my boots are not going to clean themselves.
Ifan beams at you, his blood-streaked face more jubilant than you've ever seen it. He reaches out and pulls you into a bear hug, clapping you on the back.
We did it. The odds were against us. Hell, the gods were against us. And still we did it.
He reaches out his hand to grasp yours. Source crackles between you and in the air all around you. The world has changed.
Now we'll see something. We'll see what happens when everyone can harness their own divinity. Me either. I knew it. From the first time I met you, I knew you were special. And this proves it. With a world full of sorcerers, we should be able to make short work of the Voidwoken.
Ifan nods, but his mind is elsewhere already. He looks different somehow. A vestige of command has returned to this ex-soldier.
We'll need supplies. Source-forged steel, war owls, a central command from which to run sorties. What do you think? Is Arx the right location?
Seeing the look on your face, he laughs and shakes his head.
Old habits die hard. But I'm willing to bet these Voidwoken will die harder.
With that, Ifan salutes you. He whistles up his soul wolf and strides off to make arrangements, looking from head to toe every bit a leader of men. Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering to himself.
I see. Intriguing.
He glances up at you, big, empty eye sockets taking in every detail.
With a grin, the skeleton throws his arms around you, squeezing you tight. He breaks off the embrace, grinning wildly.
Well, well. There you are, my darling. Just look at you. A little leaner than when we first met, and a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine. As do I, it seems, whatever that life might be.
Fane looks back down to the book, a bony finger running across the embossed leather cover.
It could have been different, you know? I could have saved them. I could have found a way. No. I imagine you can't. I imagine no one can. But the cards were dealt, and my people got snake eyes. Or something. I never took the time to learn how the average Rivellonian entertained themselves. Then again, you are no average Rivellonian. Not after this. So, what do you think you'll do now that we live in a world of minute divines? Oh, my sweet. How could I say no? I mean, obviously I could say no in a variety of both verbal and non-verbal languages, but... that is to say, there is nowhere I would rather be than by your side. Funny you should mention that, actually.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly octopuses? Octopi? Octopods. Oh, I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever truly created or destroyed. I suppose we are all Source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, less jewel-encrusted form, naturally. But my people were Source too, although we didn't know it at the time. And our Source helped create you. In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire time. In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, my love.